Hey guys, I'm going to be reviewing 4 of the cheapest, dirt cheap Amazon smartwatches. I'm talking less than $35, 20 bucks, 25 bucks. I've reviewed 4 of them. I only have 2 of them here because I returned the other 2, but these are my top 2 choices. In the description box, I'm going to label them 1, 2, 3, and 4, and I'm going to just go through in order. So number 1 is this rectangular one, the T98, which takes your temperature, blood oxygen, your blood pressure, your heart rate. It's the only one that takes your temperature. Almost all of the other smartwatches, for the most part, take your blood pressure, your blood oxygen, and your heart rate. This is one of the only ones that also takes your temperature, which is super cool. Who knows if it's accurate, but it's very cool as far as like in New York, you can't go into restaurants without them taking your temperature. So it's nice to kind of know. You cannot change the background screen on this. You can only choose between the ones that they give you, and you hold down. Come on. You hold down on the main screen to change it. It normally works. My hands are kind of dry right now. You do that and you can change it. I actually think most of these screens are kind of ugly, but this one is nice because it gives you can just click this and it will take your heart rate right away, which is convenient. You can click this and it shows your social media, and you can swipe to delete any of those messages. And it keeps 15 of them. Facebook, Instagram, all of that. It does not get like my calendar alerts or my to-do list. And this one only works with the iPhone SE 2020. It did not work with the iPhone 11. That's my personal experience with it. It counts your steps. Of all the watches, I feel like this one counted the least steps for me. Most of the others were giving me 2 or 3 times as many steps, but really who knows what's accurate, but knowing that, it kind of gives you a sense. So this one was $29.99, and I did really like that it takes your temperature, which is cool, and then you get all the sports data, the heart rate, blood pressure, blood oxygen, your social media messages, which all of these watches, they're going to work sometimes, other times they're not going to work. So don't like rely on that, but it's really convenient if you're like doing the dishes and your phone beeps and it does show up, you can just glance and know, okay, that's what that was. I was not able to get my text messages on this. You're supposed to be able to get your text messages, but mine did not work. Now, Android often works better than iPhones with these kind of things. It also has weather. It only shows you the sun or the cloud or whatever, and then 62 degrees. You can change most of these watches, actually all the ones I tried, you can change to imperial, which is what we use in the US. In other countries, they use like Celsius, and who knows what that means. Okay, it has a timer, like a stopwatch, and of course it has all your sports things, such as running and walking, which is probably what most people would use. Okay, so it has another menu where it also measures your sleep. I know I slept more than 5 hours, but it only tracked 5 hours, so that's not all that accurate. But it also has, in the actual app, it will track everything. Now that part is really cool because it tracks throughout the day, it tracks all your vitals. So like your heart rate, your blood pressure, all of that. That's the coolest thing. For women, it tracks your time of the month and it tells you what to expect. It will tell you what's going on with that. And so I can look at like, what was my blood oxygen every day? It gives me a list of like the whole month, and I can look at many times during the day. It automatically takes my blood oxygen and it plots it on this chart, and I can just push on the chart and see, oh, at like 9 a.m. my blood oxygen was this percentage. So it's kind of cool to know that about including your temperature, your blood pressure, your heart rate. all of those things, it tracks for about a month in the app and it keeps it in the app. Now you can also click one button, click to measure all items. When I click that, it measures all the vitals at one time. So if I want to know everything at once, and this is the only watch that does that, that clicks everything at one time, so that's very cool. Another really awesome thing about this, it has 5 alarms. You set it from the app. Now, you can type stuff onto the alarms, and that way you can remind yourself of things and it pops up at the time that you set. So like if at 10 a.m. I want to remind myself, do this task or do, those things that you always tend to forget during the day, right? You can set it and it will have this alarm pop up with those words written out. So to me, that's super helpful. Maybe you have a to-do list item. I keep forgetting to buy milk at the store. Oh, I just keep forgetting. Then set your thing to pop up. Now, this one unfortunately did not work with any of my calendar or to-do list apps, but the fact that I can set 5 different alarms during the day, that's very cool and very, very worth it. It also has the option to remind you to stand up if you're inactive for 1 hour, and you can have that every few hours. And you can also have an option to have it tell you to drink water, which I have that just because why not? You can turn these things off and on in the app. And you can set it if you want it to constantly be taking your heart rate and plotting it on that chart, which I think is cool. But if not, you can turn that off. And you can also find your phone or find the bracelet. So if you lose either one from the one that you have, you can, where's my phone? And then your phone will beep, or go to your phone and where did the watch go? And that's good for forgetful people. So overall, this is my favorite simply because it has all these very cool features. And also the other thing I really like is for the social media, you can just swipe up. Oops, I did it wrong. You can just swipe up and then you have your social media list, and that's easy to get to. And you can also keep 15 on here, which is a lot. And of the ones, you can also email yourself to-do list reminders. That's my favorite thing about this. So to do this, for me, it wasn't getting my emails, but if I set my email as a important VIP message, and then I set turn notifications on for this specific message, and then I email myself something, it takes it a little while. It doesn't 100% work, but about 90% of the time it does work. And then I can have this awesome to-do list on the watch that I can click on again and again. So I can have up to 15 of those. Now you might want to turn off your other social media notifications if you need 15 to-do list items for that day, or maybe a shopping list or something, because otherwise your social media, as they pop up, it will push that message up and then it eventually will disappear once you get 15 new messages. So keep that in mind. You might want to go on the app and turn off your other ones, which is easy enough to do. You can select which of your social media you want it to let you know about and which ones you don't. And you can also connect these to Apple Health. I think all of them were able to connect to my Apple Health just fine. These things are so cheap, you guys. The fact that it works at all, it's pretty amazing. Now, I mean, if you want to get an actual Apple Watch or a Samsung smartwatch, those things start at anywhere from 150, 200 bucks for an older one, up to $1,000, which is a lot for basically a watch. And apparently the Apple Watch, you have to charge it overnight every night, so it can't really track your sleep. These charge really fast in probably an hour or two, depending on how low it is. So usually when I take a shower or whatever, I just charge it and then it's good to go if I want it to track my sleep. But yeah, you can also, let's see. Okay, so here's where you turn on which social media you want and you can turn all of them off, depending if you do email yourself your to-do list items, which that is my favorite thing about this one, and it's only 30 bucks. Sometimes there are sales on these and you can get some of them for even cheaper, sometimes 20, 25 bucks. A couple of these other ones I was able to get for 20 bucks depending on the sale. So even though this one, I personally find it to be kind of ugly. It's not my style. I know a lot of people like how the Apple Watches look. I don't really like how it looks. And I don't want someone to mug me thinking it's an Apple Watch because I live in NYC and there's a ton of gunpoint and knife muggings lately. And I don't want someone to mug me for a fake $30 Apple Watch. I guess the good thing though is I could totally give it to them without any problem. And it doesn't store anything in here that really would have your info that they could steal, which is nice. Okay, the weather just changed and now it's a cloud. Before it was a sun, So now it's raining. Okay, so that's this one. I do like the shade of pink. It's kind of pretty. So that one is the T98 that is $29.99 and it takes your temperature, which is one of the only ones that does that. And overall, it works pretty well. When it has this little symbol here of the infinity symbol, that means it's connected to your Apple Health and it shows you the battery here. And all of these, you just plug them into your computer USB and it has a magnetic little thing that goes on the back. Okay, so that's number one because I just think it works best. I'm not thrilled with the band and just the shape of it. Not my style. So I'll talk about this later. I actually just got a different band that I'm going to try to put onto it that is stretchy, and I'm going to talk about that one last. Number two, the V23, which is not the V23 Pro. The V23 Pro is, and we're talking about this one here, the Pro version does take your temperature, but it's like 50 bucks. This one I got this for $19.99. But this V23, the non-pro that I got for $19.99, right now it's listed for $24.99. I've seen it listed for up to 50 bucks online. So you kind of want to look around or maybe wait for a sale or whatever, but I mean, come on, 20 bucks for this? I think it looks the best out of all the ones I've tried. I just think it's so pretty. You can change the watch face. You can't change the watch face on this. You have to use one of their ugly ones. Maybe you like how it looks. I don't. This one comes with a lot of them. This one is really pretty and it tells you that it's Friday the 13th. Oh no, it's Friday the 13th. And it also shows my steps on here, 1343. And it shows my beat per minute for my heart all on there. And the other one, so this one for today has 576 steps and this one has 1343. So obviously one of them is wrong. But if you kind of know that, if you know that one tends to be a bit higher or lower, you can kind of keep that in mind and just factor it in. So only $19.99. Now, this one, the main problem with it is sometimes it does unpair from my phone. It is able to pair with my iPhone 11, whereas this one only worked with the iPhone SE 2020. So the software on this one obviously doesn't work with as recent of iPhones as this one does. So it did pair with my iPhone 11. Also, it has the thing where you can swipe up to get your social media, and this one was able to connect with more of my social media than this one. Pretty much all my apps do come through with this one, unlike the other one. It was able to get even my Citizen app, which is cool, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all of that stuff. But the thing that I don't like about this one is just the words are kind of huge, and you can swipe across to see the full message. You can swipe across 3 times, but the letters are so huge. To me, that just looks kind of lame. This one does work with my to-do list Microsoft app. It doesn't work with my iPhone reminders app. But that's cool. I just have to set a notification In my Microsoft to-do list app, you set the bell icon for a specific time and then it will come through. And again, you can try to save these things on your watch, but this one, unlike the other one, does not have, this one has 15 spots for social media, and this one only has 5 spots, each of which you can swipe across 3 times, but the words are so huge you really can't fit a huge amount of info on there, but it, pretty much works. Okay, neither of these can you text back to somebody. None of these actually can you text back to somebody. And most of these you cannot answer a call, but what you can do is if someone calls you, you can hang up the call, which is convenient because we all get so many calls. You're just like, oh, hang up, right? Telemarketers and stuff, I mean, of course, not someone you actually know. Okay, so this one for being 20 bucks, I'm amazed by that. You swipe up for the social media, you swipe left and you get a list of everything like your sleep. This one has the graph right on it, which is cool. And all of these track your deep sleep, your light sleep, all of that, which is pretty cool. This one comes with a screen protector too, which is nice. This one I don't think needs one. And this one is nice because you can tap it to turn it on. This one you have to shake. Come on. You have to shake your arm for it to turn on. Okay, this one does not do temperature, but it does all the other things, such as, blood pressure, heart rate, blood oxygen. They all pretty much do that. Oh, I forgot to mention this one does not play music from your phone. Okay, this one and I think the other two, everyone except for this one, you can control your music from your phone. So like, for example, if I open the Pandora app on my phone, come on, man, whoa, sorry, that was way too loud. Okay, so Pandora's on there, and from this phone, I can go to the player, and I can pause it, or I could skip songs. Oh look, the drink reminder just came on this one, so I need to drink water. I'm going to turn that off because it's probably copyrighted music, but that's nice, and I can even start it and stop it from this. They all have that except for this one. Now for the photo taker, it's very important for the photo taker that you are able to shake your wrist to take the photo. So what that means is if I put my phone like over here and I stand it up, I can take my picture from back there by either pressing on this camera, or I can shake my wrist and it will take the picture, okay? For that one, you want to open up the app on your phone. I can actually do it right now. So I open the app on my phone and then I go to device, which is, it's so bright. You go to device and then you go to shutter. And then if I want to just flip it around, and then I'll just prop it up right here. And then I can either do one of two things. I can press it, but then you have a picture of yourself pressing your phone, which looks really weird, or even better, you shake it and then it takes it, which looks a lot better, obviously. So it looks better when you shake it versus when you have a photo of yourself pressing your phone, which just looks really stupid, right? Now, that's nice for that. This one, you shake it also, and this one gives you a 3-second countdown, which is awesome. I'm not sure if this one does. I feel like it was not giving me a 3-second countdown, but there was kind of a slight delay there. Oops, it's the wrong one. Anyway, so shaking it is much better than pressing the button for that part. Now the weather on this one is even better than this one because the weather here tells you the weather and then the sun or whatever, it gives you the high and the low. 53 is the high, 47 is the low. That's really important to know. And then if I click on the little arrow, come on, it will tell me the whole week, high and low. That's pretty cool. The other one doesn't do that. That's pretty useful. Neither of these have any calculators or anything like that. This one actually has a game. It's called Young Bird. Isn't that funny? And you can just click play, and I'm really bad at this, but you try to make this bird fly, and this is where I usually die, is right here. Oh, oh, I've lived longer than I've ever lived, and then he died. None of the other ones have a game. Young bird. I would think it'd be called like a baby bird or a chick, but I guess it's like translated. And yeah, all of these have the training, the step counters that they automatically do. But then if you want to go into like walking, running, cycling, skipping, which I know I do that all the time, you know, down the street, badminton. Who doesn't play badminton like every day? Basketball and football, which the football actually looks kind of like a soccer ball, so I would imagine that they mean soccer by that. You click it, it gives you a countdown, and then it starts counting my football, which I assume would be soccer, considering these are kind of international watches that are made in China. Okay, so this one I would say is my favorite in terms of it just being pretty. It looks like a watch. I feel like no one's going to mug me for it. You can change the bands on any of these. Just make sure the millimeter size matches the watch. That's the most important thing. And it always says in the description. This one also tracks your sleep. I said that. But this one actually has a graph and the other one doesn't. The other one just tells you how many hours and minutes you slept. And you can change the faces on this one, which is really awesome. And it gives you a little chart of your blood pressure throughout the day, which is really nice. The other one doesn't give you a chart directly like that, and the blood oxygen and all of that. So this one is probably my favorite. The only bad thing about it is a few times it did unpair itself from the watch and from the phone, and I had to go back in and pair it, which is not a big deal. You just like, you know, basically open your phone and click on the app and then it repairs again. The watch faces, it comes with different ones, and then they have one that you can set it yourself, which I made a Hello Kitty one for the one that I wanted, but they're all really cute, and you can download more. They have a ton of these watch faces, which is really nice. Okay, so these two are my favorites. I'm going to briefly talk about the other two that I returned, which are obviously not my favorites. With these two iPhones, they might work better for you. If you have an Android or a different, maybe an older iPhone, they might work better for that. So the next one was $49.98. It was a uwinmo phone, and that one could actually pick up calls and make calls, and it was able to sync my phone address book to the watch, and it was a round pretty one like this, but it was pretty heavy, and it was kind of buggy. It kept disconnecting from my phone more than anything else, which would mean I wouldn't be able to use any of the call functions or anything. Like, what's the point if you have to pull your phone out of your bag if you're walking around and you want to make a call? And the call function, it did work, but it was kind of scratchy, kind of inconsistent, and yeah, I just wasn't really thrilled with it. Some of the time it didn't work right, other times it worked fine. And it didn't work with all of my apps. Again, it didn't work with my to-do list apps. It did. Almost all these seem to get Facebook and Instagram fine, but things like email, to-do list apps, calendar apps, very finicky. None of that worked with any of mine except for this one. It's the only one that gets my Microsoft to-do list app. So that one was pretty cool in that it could pick up calls. If someone called you, you could answer it, even using an iPhone, which is pretty amazing because usually only Android phones does that work with. But overall, it was just so heavy, and I just really wasn't too thrilled with that. and for it to disconnect that many times, the call feature wasn't really worth it. So I returned that one that was $49.98. Then the last one that I returned was the IP67, which was $29.99 when I bought it. Now it's $35.59. And I don't know, the model that they have listed now looks a little different from the one I bought, but anyway, I think it's the same one. That one had this weird thing where it was round, but see, this one is a full round touchscreen. Look how cute the Hello Kitty thing is. I actually just I didn't mean to change that, but when I clicked on that in the app, it changed my watch face. So now I have Hello Kitty's face, and my steps and Friday 11:13 is all shown on there. This one that you customize, you can actually move it around. Like I can move this information down here and put my picture up here. But this one is a full touch screen. You can touch anywhere on it, right? And the picture goes all the way on the screen. Number 4, the IP67, was only a square inside the round thing, which looked kind of weird, and it was just kind of depressing. Like, looks like a 1980s kind of technology thing. You could change the photo on that, just like you could on here. You could put any photo you want, but again, it's a square. So if you put any photo you want it to have like a black background so it doesn't look as lame. But that one, it just had this like cheap feeling to it, even though it did work fine. It wasn't pairing from my phone or anything, and it did all the other basic things except for temperature. So like the step tracking, the blood pressure, the heart rate, the blood oxygen. It did all of those things, but it didn't do temperature. But what I really didn't like about the photo shutter for that one is you had to press the button, so all the photos would be of you pressing a button on your watch, or you could take your watch off and like hold it, but then you have to kind of like put your hand behind yourself. And I just felt that this one is the best at that because you can shake it and it gives you a 3-second countdown to pose, which is pretty perfect. And then the runner-up is this one that doesn't give you a countdown, but it has like a slight pause that you're not just like shaking your phone in the actual picture. Now, the looks of that one, I thought it looked fine. It looked similar to this one. It was lightweight, and it also had the thing that changes the music, which not all of them have. This one cannot change music. So if you're using it to work out and you're listening, with earphones, Bluetooth earphones or whatever, you're not going to be able to change the song on this one. And the other ones you can. This one you can. And all the other ones you can on this list. Okay, and that one is currently $35.99, and it was $29.99 when I bought it. So that's something to keep in mind, like the prices change a lot. And this one I got for $19.99, and I've seen it elsewhere on the web for up to $50. So keep that in mind. The prices do move around a little bit. But I mean, really, for like $20, $25, like it's not such a huge deal if you don't like it. Now this is the bracelet, which was $11.99. You have to always look at the millimeters, which is this amount here, how big this is. This is a 20 millimeter one. That it supposedly works with both of these. You should always check that on the watch though. And you use these weird little pins to connect it. And you put the pin inside here, and then basically it's a way to cram the pin into those little holes that are on the side of your watch. It has these 2 little holes here, and once I figure out how to put the pin in here, I'm not totally sure how to do that, but basically it has this little thing that you push, and then you push it in and you do like one side and then it snaps into the other side basically. So I think this might help improve the ugliness factor of this one is what I'm hoping. But I think it would also look really pretty on this one, though it's already pretty. It doesn't need it, but I think it would be extra pretty to have that on there. And I just like the idea that you can just slide it on. You don't have to buckle the buckle. Not like that's a huge problem, but if you're kind of lazy like me, you just want to, put it on real quick. They have a bunch of these, anywhere from like 10 to 20 bucks usually is the price for most. And then they have replacement bands that are as low as like $5. These are silicone, which is really good if you have any allergies to stuff. These are good. They also have some metal ones that are pretty, but maybe not as comfortable, especially if you're sleeping with it. Okay, so that is 4 of the cheapest smartwatches on Amazon. I hope this was useful for you guys because I was trying to look for reviews and I really couldn't find any. They were all for like $200 ones, and like I'm like, no, I mean actually cheap ones, because I don't want to buy like a $1,000 watch, you know? Like I don't need it that bad, but I do like having just the little reminders. Oh, I forgot to mention this one has 3 alarms only, and you cannot put information onto it. And the other one, same thing. You can't put information onto the other alarms. Let me see if I can go to the alarms here. This one also has a theater mode where it like keeps it from vibrating too loudly. Okay, so I actually used the alarm on this one this morning because I had grocery delivery. So you can turn the alarm off and on from the watch, but you can't set the time. So you set the time from the app and then you can turn it off and on. So maybe I want to remind myself to like go to the gym tonight. So I set the alarm for like 6:30 p.m. Maybe I don't want to go to the gym every day. So on some days I might like turn it off. Or on the weekend or whatever, you might turn off your alarm to wake you up in the morning. Personally, I wouldn't rely on any of these to wake me up in the morning. I might use it as like an additional alarm, but I'll probably always use my phone alarm with a sound too, just in case this happens to unpair during the night. I don't think you should be relying on any of these things for like anything super important. But yeah, like you can change the brightness and things on all these too to save some battery power. And this one is the only one that has theater mode, one on, silent mode, and reduces brightness. Though I think this one is pretty much always pretty silent. It only vibrates, but maybe it vibrates more quietly or something, I don't know. And this one, you can turn it so that when you shake it, it turns on, and you can turn that off. So like if you're sleeping, you don't want it to turn on when you're sleeping because it's bright, right? And this one just sort of knows not to turn on at night. A lot of these you can set it in the app to not do its thing during the times that you're sleeping, so it isn't, being bright and waking you up or vibrating to tell you to drink water in the middle of the night. Most of them you can go into the app and change that. So anyway, these are my top 2. The other ones I returned, and I hope this was helpful. Now, of course, these all come in other colors, like black. So even though they look super girly in the girl color, like this one you can get silver and pink, or you can get a blue one, and I think a black one too. And this one comes in black. So obviously it's going to look more like a guy smartwatch. If you can picture this being black, it does not look girly at all. Or if you picture this, the whole thing being black also. So yeah, that is my review of the 4 cheapest Amazon smartwatches. Like it and share it with other people. I mean, I don't know if I would give these as like a gift personally because they're so finicky depending on what phone you have and everything. So if you give it as a gift, make sure you get them like the return receipt or whatever, or maybe give them a heads up that it might not work with their phone right. But I mean, for being so cheap, it's like, I'm down for that. Okay, thanks for watching, guys.